last week, I can't think what, in Illinois. Wasn't too far. It was just about 50 or 60 miles over in Illinois out of Indiana. Yep. Yep. And I'm going again to Kennett, Missouri next month.
Why are we shutting the doors
And
for?
Kennett, Missouri's not far.
Yeah.
Mayfair.
No, that ain't it.
Go to it's down the very far corner, it's just in the corner of Missouri down there.
I ain't never done that.
3 hours.
Yeah, a little over 3.
I don't see Silicon Ranch.
Yeah, I'm quarantined.
We were talking about, I said, I hope no Democrat don't come out today against me, because if I win the first go around, then you got the rest of the time. Like you now, you right now, you're going to have a campaign this fall.
Right.
You know.
Thomas is a walking candidate.
Well,
I said, you're a walking candidate.
yeah. Here's one I hear no say.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
I've still got my fingers crossed till 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
Unless they extend it again. You know what I'm talking about.
I know it.
Extended day even?
We're talking about it. It's an option to August.
Huh?
Extending it to August.
You kidding me?
As of right this minute, it's getting extended because it's still unsettled.
Yeah.
Tyler, are we live?
Yeah, I think that's all.
No.
That's crazy.
We on TV yet?
Extending the.
Okay.
General.
All right,
primary.
well, I gotta get court started.
Primary, moving the primary to August. That's one thing they're talking
Oh,
about.
okay.
So
Okay,
I don't know
I'll holler
how
at
long
you
they
this
would
afternoon.
Extend the filing date.
Oh, I thought you was talking about foul dead.
Huh? May.
May 31st, primaries, August something.
So May 31st, that would happen May 31st to file.
What is it?
May 30, it's not been done, but what they were proposing was the 31st of May, but as of
okay.
now, it's still the second.
Okay, you got us turned on, Tyler? Okay, I'm sorry I got a telephone call I was expecting before court, but it don't look like it maybe gonna work out this time, so anyhow, before we get started this morning, and I know I've kind of wore this out, over the weekend and Monday, there was 29,357 new cases of COVID in the state of Kentucky. According to the Barron River report Friday, there's 1 out of every 22 people here in the county that got an active case. And so we need to remember them in our prayers this morning and remember the legislators as they're in session and the things that they're talking about at the state level and at the national level. And with that being said, I'm going to ask Scotty Harper to do a prayer this morning.
Lord, we thank you for this wonderful day that you've given us, come together to do the business of the county. We just ask that you would be with us today as we make decisions that will benefit the future. Lord, that we will have your insight and that we will trust in you for those decisions. Lord, we ask that you bless our leaders at the state level and at the federal level, that Lord, they would also seek your guidance in the daily decisions that they make, that they would be pleasing to you serve your people. Lord, we ask the sick in our county and people that have lost loved ones, that you wrap your hands around them, give them a level of comfort, Lord, that they know that you're present. We'll give you all the praise for that, Lord. Forgive us where we've been. Ask in your name, amen.
Amen. Okay, let's call the meeting together with the pledge of the American flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get started this morning, we do need to make a few amendments to the agenda. I had a few things come in yesterday, kind of late, and it's kind of important that we go ahead and make some kind of decision on it. Item number 12 is to pick the color for the pavers and the planter boxes around the courthouse. Number 13, we just need to discuss this, because this is something I haven't been able to get done this morning. I was hoping to be able to get it done, but we need to discuss it. Hiring outside professional service for writing specifications for removal of the lead paint and plaster where it's loose around the courthouse. Our architect said they wasn't licensed or insured to deal with that. But with that, just be a discussion this morning. It won't be a decision made because I've got looking for somebody who can do it. Number 14, we got our audit back yesterday. Knowledge fiscal court audit for 2021, and this also includes the jail commissary. And so we got to acknowledge it. So we got it yesterday, kind of about lunchtime, I think, wasn't it, Amanda? So if I can have a motion to amend the agenda, add in those items.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Now, are there any questions? Okay, not hearing any, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley,
Yes.
Wright, Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes. Okay, the first order of business this morning is the minutes from the January 11th meeting.
Motion to approve minutes.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Is there any questions? Okay, not hearing any. Let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley,
Yes.
Wright, Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes. Okay, next item is the bill list and a supplemental bill list.
Move to approve the bill list and the supplemental bill list.
Second.
Okay, got a motion. Is there any questions? Okay, not hearing any. Let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley,
Yes.
Wright, Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes. Okay, treasurer report, Amanda.
Good morning, Court.
Good morning.
In your folders today, we have a list of budget transfers that we need to have approved.
Make a motion to approve the budget transfers as presented.
Second.
Okay, we've had a motion and second to approve the budget transfers. Is there any questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley,
Yes.
Wright, Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
And today I do have 3 cash transfers. We need to transfer $50,000 from the occupational net profits tax fund to the jail fund.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion on the transfer. Any questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley,
Yes.
Wright, Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
We need to transfer $25,000 from the occupational net profits tax fund to the LGEA fund.
So moved.
Okay, motion and a second on the cash transfer. Do we have any questions about it? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley,
Yes.
Wright, Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
And we need to transfer $25,000 from the occupational net profits tax fund to the 911 fund.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion second. Questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes.
That's all I have for you this morning.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. Okay, road work request, Tyler.
District 1, continue maintenance. Appreciate all the hard work, Kelly.
District 2, 96 and J. Harper. There's a little pothole right there, take about 10 gallons of coal patch. And the Mortimer Road, the shoulders, there's a few places out there still needs it. Otherwise, everything's good, appreciate it.
District 3, Kelly, just thank you for continue maintenance.
District 4, same thing, continue maintenance, thanks for all y'all's hard work.
District 5, same.
District 6, continue maintenance. Thank you for everything, Kelly. Everything looks good.
Okay, y'all have heard the road work request. Do we have a motion to approve it?
I make it.
Okay, got a motion and second by
Who's
Jack.
sec- Okay.
Jack.
Is there any questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright, Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, elected official, Phil. Mary's not here, so.
Thank you, Judge Chick. Good morning, court.
Good morning.
There's some handouts here for you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have 179 total at our facility. 102 are county inmates, 77 are state. Still a little overcrowded on the county side. I don't know there's much we can do about that.
What's out of state hold? You got one. What is that?
We're holding for another facility. They've been Canford Court.
Okay, when, was there, you mean when they leave here, they're going somewhere out of state? Is that what you're saying?
Most likely, they're probably waiting on extradition paperwork to be signed.
Somebody has an out-of-state felony, they can be arrested by a local officer and held in Phil's jail until they waive extradition or have an extradition hearing. Typically is probably 2 or 3 weeks, but it can take up to 60 days if we've got to go through the full formal process of getting the 2 governors involved to sign off on it. So we probably get, I would say we average at least 1 or 2 of those a week, wouldn't you?
Yes, sir.
Do we cover the expense?
No, sir. We should be able to, but it's not allowed. Matter of fact, they've done away with booking fees and stuff like that, too.
Prisoner's world.
Supreme Court ruling on that, so.
Yeah.
Prisoner's world, we're just living in it.
That's all I have.
Okay, is that all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay, anybody got any questions?
When's commissary changeover take place?
It's in the process today, yesterday and today.
Okay.
So it's taking place now. We'll be talking about the audit a little later on. We don't want to get ahead of Judge Speak, but we got a clean audit, so.
Well, I noticed in today's paper where they're gonna pay us a little more.
Well, we're hoping they are. It hasn't completed
Hadn't
the
been-
process.
Okay,
I think the Senate has gonna present their version of it, and then go to the governor's office for approval. Put in your budget.
That'll help, wouldn't it?
It helps about $120,000 as it stands today with the number of state inmates that we have.
We'll take it.
All right.
Okay, that will be some help.
What's that?
That will be some help.
It will, every little bit helps, that's correct. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve, you got anything this morning? Okay, Scotty.
Good morning.
So as you're aware, a lot of legislation is happening with the filing deadlines and what have you. What I'd like to talk to you today has to do with House Bill 2, Senate Bill 2, and Senate Bill 3, which has become law, but it's in litigation. And what that is, it's the state and congressional maps where they did redistricting at the state and federal level. So what we need to do, or what I would ask the court, is to allow me, and I haven't talked to the judge about this, it just came out yesterday, it's allow me and the judge and the county attorney, I will need to have a board meeting with the county board Thursday after ballot position pick. I will be contacting Kim Morrow at the Brad office to help us with the lines and with the redistricting of the maps and all that. What I need your vote on is to allow me and the judge to work with Kim if we have to get a contract drawn up. Because we have to have this done by March the 7th. We still got a little time, but we've got to act on it because I don't know how many counties she's going to be working with. I know Warren County is affected by this tremendously, and I don't know that we'll be able to do it at our first meeting of February. So I just wanted to try to get ahead of this, and I guess we need to call an emergency meeting if the judge doesn't feel comfortable. I don't think it'll be that much to do that work, but we definitely need to get started. It's affecting 2 precincts in District 5. It's going to be E102 and E103, and that's a little section over in the northeast corner of Logan County, right on the Warren County, Logan County line. It affects, so it'll be District 2, which will be Brett Guthrie representing, and in District 1 will be the rest of it. Where it's going to be hairy and expensive for us is we've got to redo the lines, we've got to get new ballots ordered, we've got to move all those voters into that congressional district to get that ballot that they need. So it is work that we've got to get started on, so I'm just trying to be proactive on that.
It is something we've had to do every year. It's just more complicated this year.
We've never had to do a congressional district in Logan County.
But this agreement.
And that's all we're dealing with is a congressional district.
Right.
But this agreement with Brad, didn't we do this in 2011? Just it was much simpler back then.
They have all the census blocks in their GIS computers already, so they're able to draw those to scale to where we're not set up for that. And so,
But no, that's not got anything to do with reapportionating the county
has
as
nothing
far
to
as
do- it's only state
That's only
and
the-
federal.
federal.
Yeah. So with our state, we will have a new senator, but that's for the whole county, so that won't be affected. And with the House member, that will not be affected either. It's only that congressional, the 2 split congressional district. But March 7th is our target. So we've got to get our part done. I've got to get that to State Board of Elections, and they've got to get it before their board to be approved at the state level before it's actually official. In the meantime, the reason I'm going to ask Joe, in the meantime, there is litigation. So as we're doing this process, if the judge in Franklin County, Judge Shepard, were to give us different guidelines, we would immediately stop. I would work with Joe, and we would do what the judge asked us to do, or if as it moves up through the appeals court and to the Supreme Court, which it will in Kentucky.
You said about Brett Guthrie, in other words, he's not going to be representing all the county, right?
Just a small, one subdivision over in E102 and 103, right on the Warren County line.
Well, I'll be in it.
Yes, possibly. I haven't got the map in front of me to see the road, but possibly.
Well, the reason I said that, he called my wife the other day, and he said he was glad to have us back in his district again. So that's the reason I'm saying that we probably.
I just haven't seen the official maps to scale.
On the map, it kind of looks like the Cave Springs area is what it looks
It's
like to me.
basically, it's E102 and E103, and it's just a chunk out of it, and I don't know exactly where the lines come to at this point, but
Of course, I'm only 2 miles from Warren County line, where I live,
it's gonna affect you.
yeah.
Yeah, I just think the judge and I will need to, we'll be working with Kim. She'll get us maybe a quote or maybe a contract, and then hopefully we can move forward from there. That would just give the judge authorization, and I'd work together with Joe on the legal side of it. That way we don't, maybe not have to call a special meeting together.
So one question I would have, and I'm fine to do it, but would we possibly be spending money for something that ends up having to be thrown away?
Could be, Thomas, and there's no way to know that.
So-
But we still have to, by the law, we have to move forward. Because it is law, it's just being challenged, and Joe can speak to that more. It is law, but it is being challenged. That doesn't mean it's gonna be upheld or turned over.
So how much money are we talking about?
I would say not over $3,000 or $4,000 at the most. I would think it would cost that much. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay, I was just interested,
Yeah.
how much
I would
money we're
think
going to
that would
possibly
be-
be throwing away.
I would think that'd be way more.
Throwing away $100,000.
Because they can't figure it out at the state level.
Well, but these other counties that have so much more, they're gonna invest more than we are. That's a chance that we're just gonna have to take because of the law. I've got a copy of it if you want it, Thomas. It just says March the 7th is the deadline.
Yeah, okay.
And it shouldn't be over 200 people, I don't think, that we'll have to move.
So the request is to hire Brad to work
Yes.
on
Yeah,
our
'cause
congressional GPS.
Because they're already set up with our county. They have all those maps.
I put that form in for motion. Allow Scotty, county judge, county attorney, to work with Brad to work on our redistricting congressional mapping.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second? Seconded by Tyler. Questions? Now, the new court, just as soon as they take over in January of next year, I want to be sure and explain this to everybody. They're going to be dealing with the reapportionment of the master store listings.
Andrew, yes.
And I think is that the only thing that would be school districts and,
Depending, I don't think they're going to change. I don't think the county is not going to change.
okay.
So that they would have that, they have that option anytime, Judge, in this case.
Okay. Okay, is there any question? Okay, let's have a roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Harper.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Bolden.
Yes.
Chick.
Yes.
Thanks, Scotty.
Okay, I guess you better get on the phone and call Kim.
I'll make contact with
Okay, department heads.
Where we at on moving Mary's office over to
Do what?
where we at on moving Mary's office over to the old drug task?
Well, she was supposed to go out there and look at it, me and Barry, and she's never made contact with me to look at it, so we do need to look at that building and decide what we're gonna do with it, but she hasn't made no contact. Okay, as far as department heads this morning, Nathan, we got two hauler permits that have been applied for. One of them is Dallas Jones Enterprise, DBA Clay's Trucking, out of Beachmont, and one of them BG Dumpster LLC, 5945 Bowling Green, Franklin Road, or Franklin, Kentucky. Bowling Green Road, Franklin, Kentucky. There's two haulers that he's recommended that we approve their application for permit.
So moved to accept Dallas Jones, DBA Clays Trucking, and BG Dumpster LLC haulage permits.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion. Any questions? Well, we got a motion and a second. Question? If not, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright. Harper.
Yes.
High.
Yes.
Bolden.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes. Okay, we got 3 applications.
One question about this, on these haulers, and not for Nathan, but this DBA at Clay's Trucking, if Clay's Trucking, if he subcontracts somebody else out, I'm just using him because his name's here. Just say ABC Trucking has a contract with us and we sub out to XYZ. Does XYZ pay for the hauling fee too, or does it come under ABC Trucking, the first entity?
Those are two separate companies.
That'd be 2 separate companies.
DBA is the same company. You got a parent company doing business as, they're the same company. But if Dallas Jones Enterprises were to hire, company ABC to do some hauling for them, ABC would need a permit.
That's what I was thinking, I mean,
But DBAs are they're the same company.
okay, so there's not a subcontract deal out, then they have.
That's not a subcontract. That's Dallas Jones is the corporation, and he is doing business as Clay's Trucking.
Okay, we got 3 recycler permits this morning. Glistening Auto, 3284 Homer Road, Russellville. And we got Morgan's Recycling, Morgan Lane, Russellville. And we got Ernie's Lawnmower Repair, LLC, Bismarck Lane.
Move to approve.
Okay, we had a motion and a second to approve those permits. Is there any questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright. Harper.
Yes.
High. Bolden.
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, then you got a year report on litter abatement totals. The total money awarded was $47,171.51, and that money was all spent this year. We spent $52,171.41 exactly. So that's just giving you a report on the grant. Okay, Kelly, you got anything this morning?
Hold on just a second. As far as Scott Waste, I've had a couple phone calls, especially this week. I don't know if anybody else did, but it seems like when there's a snow day or something and there's a short week, that they skip dead-end roads. I mean, do y'all see that?
I've had some skip too, some calls, yeah.
So, I mean, I've had like five different road skips. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I need to call Nathan and see if he can say something to them. But they just don't come back and get it. Like they wait till the next week.
So they actually get my dumpster this week, or last week, they skipped it on Wednesday because it was snow day.
They're gonna have to set up, it's so often, they're gonna set some kind of customer reimbursement portal or something,
And that's the complaint.
Yeah.
You pay 52 weeks a year, and they skipped 4 weeks in the past 52 weeks. I got somebody that keeps up with it to a T. So that's a month they've skipped.
They still pick the trash up though.
Huh?
As far as tonnage though, they still pick up the same tonnage.
Yeah, but then
Unless that person
they
took
make
it somewhere
extra
else.
trips. Though.
Yeah, I agree, but
Yeah, I mean,
I got skipped 2 weeks so
Okay.
far this year as well, and I'm on 100, a highway, and it's cleaned pretty well, but I still had the same amount of trash that was picked up the following week. you know, so I do see both sides of
Yeah.
it, you know.
The worst side that I see is your trash can's full, so you just stack up.
That's it, nowhere to put the
And then it gets ran over, and dog drags it across the field.
I just, you know, for public safety though, it's just something we have to deal with. When there's snow and ice and, I mean, they were actually making a run and got stuck on the T-Gram Road and the truck sat there for 3 days. You know, on the T-Gram Road, it's just a flat road.
I understand that with ice and road conditions, but this happens during the summer. I mean, you know,
The summer's different.
they're missing
situation.
some roads of mine, and when it's not snow and ice.
Yeah, I don't want to jeopardize anybody's safety,
Yeah.
but they're still,
Yeah.
they can run an extra day or have an extra truck.
I don't know.
I'd say call Pete. I mean, Pete's usually really good about addressing that. Anytime
If
got something
you
like
got
that.
questions, I can give you Pete's telephone number downstairs.
I've got his.
Okay, he'd be the
He's
best person to
man call about
contact.
it and just let him know, and they'll make a run or something.
Matter of fact, the reason Nathan's not here this morning is because he's attending a FEMA disaster cleanup and different things for me this morning. They had something scheduled at 9 o'clock this morning. Mr. Kyle, he told me to tell you that he'd been working with that group up there. And so, if there's any other questions about him? Okay, Kelly, you the only other department head we got here. You ain't got anything?
When's the cutter coming? When's the cutter coming?
September.
September.
Let's get that head.
Yeah, you went ahead and ordered that head mulcher, didn't you?
Started to, it'll take 5 months to wait on the mulch head. But it'll take me probably 5 months to make it round with the other head. So everything should pan out that right. We'll order it if you like first.
Okay.
you mean they're running 5 months behind? Is that what you're saying?
We're probably a year behind. About every road we got, we got these good.
No, I'm talking about getting a new cutter.
Yeah, you order it now.
We put in money down on
Oh,
that thing?
okay.
We put in money down on that thing?
Can't make it, that must be pretty.
We ain't paid for it yet,
No, we ain't paid for it yet.
Okay,
Do you put down some honest money?
When it's supposed to be here.
I thought it was April.
oh, it looks like it's gonna be July.
Really?
Looking like next year now.
Didn't he tell us
Jason.
April?
Did we put any honest money down on that?
What's that?
We,
That John Deere tractor we bought last year,
Oh, yeah. Still ain't?
it was gonna be an April delivery date.
Said an April delivery, March, April, but
They're saying July now.
one good thing, we did get our ambulance chassis that we ordered a year ago. And hopefully that ambulance will be back up here and on the road. But now, we did talk to them about if we ordered another one for a remount. They said it would be 12 months before we got it. So,
Yep.
okay, judge's announcements for the day. There's information in your folder about the driver's license no longer going to be available in Russell starting January the 24th, and that was yesterday. And y'all should have one of these in your folder in case you got any constituents that asking questions about it. The 40th Annual County Judges Association Winter Conference is scheduled February the 2nd through February 3rd at the Griffin Great Marriott Resort and Spa in Lexington. In your court folders, there's an annual ethics disclosure statement required by Brad. And we need to get that filled out and returned to as soon as possible. I know the ones of you that filed for office filled one out, but you need to do another one just for this program. And when they turn it in, get them turned in to Scotty. So everybody need to fill one of them out. I know Lewisburg Fire Department, I understand, has got their fundraiser scheduled. I don't know what day it is.
It is March the 5th.
March the 5th is Lewisburg Rural Fire Department, or the fire department down there fundraiser. So,
It'll be at Lewisburg School unless some COVID-wise changes.
okay. Okay, is there any other announcement that any of you know that I don't know about?
Lexington. Where's that conference at, Judge?
Lexington.
Lexington,
Griffin Gate?
Griffin Gate, but yesterday was the last day to sign up.
Do what?
You out.
So explain all that to
Yeah,
Mr. Guy.
I never even got anything on it. They usually.
Well, you did, because I made the announcement at the last court meeting.
I didn't hear that.
Okay. But it's the second and third, but yesterday was the last day to sign up for it. And I've
They'll
got,
take care of, they'll take
Yeah,
care
they'll
of
take
you. They,
I've,
Mr. Kyle.
I've had so much going on that I didn't even think about signing up for it.
Well, they
So,
want the money though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday was supposed to be the last day you could get the discount.
Well,
Just
now
all-
that you get to the discount. Yeah.
Just call Ray's Cane, they'll
Do you want me to try to get you?
Yeah,
some?
send me up.
If they'll let her.
Janice.
No
try,
way, Vic, I have no power over it. I will try.
They send an email out too.
Well,
And the
He ain't
text.
got
I
no
tell you,
computer.
you
I don't
can
even have a
try.
computer, much less an email.
I don't know if I can, I'll
Come on,
try.
Robert Earl, you
Well, I
got.
know you got
gotta get with
email
it.
because I sent you an email and Tyler and I,
What, on
got you
this?
something registered one day via email, didn't we?
Did you guys get your calendar?
Didn't we register him?
No, I had to sign into his
Did
email.
you get
He
your
never-
calendar?
Now, we know
He's got an email, he just don't get on it.
Well, okay.
We'll
y'all-
text message it to you.
Did y'all get your Keiko calendar?
Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Okay,
Got all the dates in it.
Citizen participation. This is a time in court we set aside for anybody that would like to address the court. We ask that you come forward.
You going up first?
Listen to me, young lady. We ask that you come forward. We ask that you state your name, some vicinity of the county you live in. We don't want your exact address, but if you live on Marshall Road, we want to know if you live on Marshall Road.
Well, good morning. Thank you.
Morning.
My name is Tahida Mateen, and I'm with the United States Small Business Administration, the SBA. I'm not local. I live in Florida, actually, so I'm freezing. So anyway, I just want to give an update on what the SBA does, and also an update on Logan County and how much money that we have given to the tornado survivors of the December 10th tornadoes. So first of all, SBA, of course, is here to help homeowners, renters, businesses of any size, nonprofit organizations, and some private organizations. So we don't want to get that confused with this only businesses, but in times of disasters, the government, the United States President does say that SBA can help homeowners and renters as well. So right now in Logan County, I believe I sent you an update yesterday, the low interest rate loans that we have helped homeowners and renters and business owners is $783,000. In the state of Kentucky, we just surpassed a little over $25 million is what I read this morning. So the number just keeps rising every day, and that's not even 100% of the approvals. We're only at about, I would say, a little over 70%. So that number is going to be really, really high. So I do have flyers here, so if you want to take those back to your respective districts or use it as a reference. I'm not sure how many questions that you've been getting, but we are in the area. Right now, the deadline that FEMA has set for us is February 11th for physical damage. For those businesses who may have had economic damages, their deadline is September 12th, 2022, and that's basically if they had to close down due to the tornadoes, they can still get money to pay their bills as they are coming in. And I believe that's about it. We are still urging people to register with FEMA first. If they are referred to SBA, that is an important step. I can't stress enough. If for some reason the SBA cannot help that person, that homeowner, that renter, we will refer them back to FEMA for additional assistance. The only way that we'll refer them back is if they come through us first. fill that application out. Even if they don't want a loan, even if they don't want a business, it's important to do that step. They can say no to the loan. They can say, well, I only need this much. My insurance gave me this, but I need this to rebuild or repair my fence or buy another automobile. So there's options there. And I believe that's it. For those people who are watching online, go to disasterassistance.gov, register with FEMA. You'll be referred to the SBA if FEMA, if you don't get enough or if FEMA, can't offer you anything, then you'll be referred. And I believe that's it. Subject to any questions, that's all I have for you.
Are these loans potentially forgivable, or they all have to be paid back?
They do have to be paid back. The interest rates are on here as well. I have my reference here. So the home loans are 1.43%. The business loans are 2.83%. Nonprofit organizations is 1.875. Those borrowers have up to 30 years to pay back the loan, so we want to keep that low. Homeowners are eligible for up to $200,000 to replace their home, up to $40,000 to replace their personal property, which is automobiles as well. And renters just have that $40,000 for their personal items. So yeah, it's a program that we offer, during disasters. And hopefully, more people will take advantage of it, but if not, that's their personal choice. But we also say, go ahead and do your insurance first. If you didn't have insurance, that's okay as well. We won't duplicate those funds. So that's it. And then you can, take some of those if you need to, and then it has their interest rates and FEMA's information, our information as well. So.
Thank you for coming and
so
letting
much.
us know.
Yeah, thank you very
No
much.
problem.
I got a question.
Of course.
Just, okay, I got $200,000 on my house insurance, and it ain't worth $200,000. So, and then the insurance pays the $200,000. Can I go borrow another $200,000 in?
You can. We won't duplicate those funds. So the SBA will have to look at your property to see if, okay, so you got insurance and we don't see any other extra money that we can give you because you got it all. So they'll have to look at it to see what anything else is worth. But you may have a fence that's down that's worth $3,000 and insurance didn't cover that. We will cover that.
I'm just wondering,
Yeah. We won't ever duplicate those funds. We'll have to check it out and look at it and assess it. And if you got your $200,000, that's all you need. The SBA will be like,
I
well,
can take
you got
that
it.
$200,000 and put on another business or something.
No.
Well, that was my question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It didn't affect me, but I just wondered if people would do that.
Yeah, we won't. Legally, the government won't duplicate those insurance funds.
I got you.
It'll be all checked out.
If you're covered, then you're okay.
Yeah, if you're covered, you're okay, but sometimes you don't get enough.
Right, gotcha.
So that's where SBA, we fill in that gap for that long-term recovery. I do want to say also that the Disaster Recovery Center is open at the Logan County Extension Center, and it closes this Thursday. It's on a rotating schedule, so if anyone needs to talk to anyone in person, they can go there. FEMA's there, SBA is there, of course. So if you have any questions, go there and ask anything you want.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for being here, and that word does need to get out. If anybody wants to sign up, they need to do it by Thursday.
Here is Thursday, if the center, the physical center, to go in and talk to someone, but the deadline is February 11th. So
Yes.
they can do it online, they can go to Bowling Green Center, because that one's gonna be there, and then,
If they want to sit down in front of anybody and talk, it'll be through this Thursday.
Yep.
And I will report that there's been this is the third week we've had somebody out there
Okay.
signing people up, and we've been encouraging people to go ahead and sign up, but there's still a few people out there that hadn't done it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's better to do it right now, but I will continue to update you and the emergency manager every week when I get those numbers, just to see how SBA is doing in the area, so, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody else like to address the court? We ask you to come forward this time. Okay, if not, we'll move on then to the first item of new business this morning. First item of new business is to approve the order of affiliation outlining the responsibility of Logan County government and Logan County Search and Rescue squad.
Is there any changes to this document?
No,
Judge? Move that we approve as presented.
Second.
okay, we had a motion to approve, and I had a second. Are there any questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Bosley.
Yes.
Wright. Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, Katie Ford's here with us. Katie, if you want to walk up front. Katie works for the Brad and is working with the county on the Cdbg CV grant.
Yes, that's
And,
correct. Sorry, go ahead. The resolutions, I guess, are in your packet.
Yes.
To touch
The
base
first
on-
one, the first resolution is to approve the residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance resolution for the Cdbg CV utility assistance projects.
Yeah, Judge, if you all, the court, if you all want to pass these all at once, or if you want to do individual.
We've got them set up to do them individually.
Okay, the residential anti-displacement, it's required, because it is a CDBG project that's with HUD funding. It will not, affect this project. It's basically that you all are saying that if for some reason a household is displaced because of this project, then we will follow the URA requirements. But since this application is only for assisting households with the utility payments, this is not affected, but it's still a requirement by HUD.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance resolution for the Cdbg CV utility assistance.
Second?
Okay, got a motion and a second. Is there any questions? Okay, if not, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Bosley.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, next item of business is approve the resolution on procurement code for Cdbg CV utility assistance project.
All right, this is the same as the first one, as it doesn't affect this project, but it's still a requirement. Basically, all other regular CDBG projects have to follow this Kentucky CDBG procurement code, which basically has anything over $30,000 has to be procured appropriately. But again, this doesn't affect the project, it's just a requirement for HUD.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution on procurement code for the Cdbg CV utility assistance project.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Question? Okay, not hearing any, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Bosley.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, next item of business is approve a resolution for fire housing for Cdbg CV utility assistance project.
All right, this is another requirement by HUD. It's just saying that it's a non-discrimination against individuals for housing. At the bottom of that, there are 3 items displayed that it says the court will follow through with. The first one of those, the BRAD will actually take care of all those items. The first one is we'll send out notices to local businesses in Logan County regarding the fair housing. The second one is posters that will be displayed, and I'll get those to the judge to display here, and you all might already have those up, I'm not for sure. And then the last one is a plan that we will put in the fall for when the state comes down to monitor. We will have all of that ready.
All right, Judge. It's on you.
Make a motion to approve the resolution on fair housing for the Cdbg CV Utility Assistance Project.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Questions?
Thank you, Jason.
No problem.
Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, next item of business is to approve the legal binding agreement between Logan County Fiscal Court and Community Action.
Yeah, so for CDBG, only counties and cities are able to apply for the funding. So the county was the applicant, and then the subrecipient will be that nonprofit Community Action. So everything in the grant agreement that the county received, basically the responsibilities, some of those in there are transferred over to the nonprofit, and it has listed out there what the nonprofit will be responsible for taken care of.
Motion to approve the agreement, allow Judge Chick to sign it.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a
Give me a
second.
chance.
Questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, next item of business is to approve a contract for professional services for Community Development Block Grant Program.
Yeah, this is a contract between Fiscal Court and the Barren River Ad to basically administer the funds that you are getting for the utility assistance. It's just a general contract we use on all of our projects, and it makes sure in there that no more than 5% of the funds will come to Brad for the administration.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for professional services for community development block grant program.
Second.
Okay, got any questions? You better ask them why the professional's here. Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, next item of business is to allow Judge Chick and staff to complete other needed paperwork on the CDBG CV Utility Assistance Projects and allow Judge Chick to sign everything.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a,
It's less paperwork to get $5.2 million than it did to get $100,000 in utility assistance.
I agree.
okay, we got a motion and a second. Now, is there any questions?
Logan, did you ever get an answer to the questions that we had regarding non-interest bearing bank accounts?
It's got to be a non-interest bearing bank account when we receive the money.
Okay, I'll need you to fill me in on some of that after court so I can make sure to move forward.
You already
with the
at
things that I
8.5%
need to do.
administration.
Yeah. Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, we put out for quote for the work to be done at the
Thank you.
Lewisburg,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Lewisburg tire site, but I have not received any quotes. So we'll have to,
Haven't received any quotes?
And we,
I can get you some quotes.
do what?
I can get you some quotes.
Well, we've got it, we got the specs out there to 4 different companies. They were supposed to have them turned in today, and, as far as I know, we didn't receive any, did we, Janet?
No.
So, we'll try it again.
Is one of those companies that one that deals with the school? They quoted it last time.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. I had, nobody asked. I don't know. Have a par.
Judge, you get with Tyler about that company that deals with the school.
Well, this is, basically what this is a generator hookup and, a battery pack.
Yeah, that's what this company
What
does.
this company does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We can just reach out to the same ones that we got quotes from for the maintenance.
I think what the issue was, it ended up, the siren in Lewisburg was not, if the power went out, it wouldn't run the siren, and they had to have a bigger generator to run the siren. I think that was the hiccup. I think they spec'd it out, and one company spec'd it out, but they were still waiting on another company. But I'm understanding that when the power goes out, the siren, they want the backup generator to run the siren. And I think that's sort of the hiccup in the.
Well, the siren and the whole system.
And the system.
Who's
but
wanting the siren to run?
pulled like 50 amp.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the siren was the 50 amp.
Who owns the siren?
The city does. Is the way I understand it.
Are they gonna,
Well, they're
Do-
already, they're letting us use their LP gas, so.
Oh, gotcha.
We're hooking up to their tanks, we're trying to find another tank.
Gotcha.
I think there's like a 6 kilowatt quoted to begin with, but that would do it all.
That wouldn't do it.
So now it's like triple.
18. Yeah, I read that.
The sirens.
Okay, we'll work on that and try to get it on next court meeting, or we might have to call an emergency court meeting. Okay? Okay, the next is to acknowledge the Sheriff 2021 year-end fee recap. Steve, if you want to come forward.
Just not correct on that, right, about the radio.
Yeah, from what I've heard, but I just talked a little bit about it, that they were trying to figure out how they were gonna basically have a bigger system.
I think it's still going around, probably, about maybe Lewisburg and furnace of propane or something, trying to work together with Lewisburg. But, I mean, it's still going on.
Yeah, the way I understood, they were just trying to hash out the little details of what that they wasn't expecting, so. I think it is gonna move forward, it's just about where we thought it was gonna be. But I'll check with Derek and see. I just need to, do I need to get that acknowledged or?
I just get it acknowledged.
Isn't it?
So move, acknowledge the sheriff's yearly recap, 2021 year recap.
second?
Okay, we had a motion, we had a second to acknowledge year-end recap for the sheriff's office. Any question? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes.
I had went back and kind of looked at what we did last year. I'm not sure if the court wants to know that basically we increased by 62,000. We collected this year 62,000 more than we did last year, and that was based on rest of fees. It went up and different things like that. So that was a positive. I guess a positive thing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, next item of business is discuss COVID pay for county employees. The motion that we had on the books on December the 14th, 2021 minutes was on a motion by Tyler Davenport, duly second by Barry Wright, to approve to extend the COVID-19 pay usage for all full-time, part-time employees, county employees, through January 31st of 2022 for up to 10 days of COVID-19 pay due to positive COVID test requiring quarantine and proper documentation.
Yeah.
And,
Judge, I think that's, pretty easy to readdress, is that now the CDC requirement's 5 days for quarantine. I think we just move it to 5 days and extend it for just another short period of time, and see where we're at in another couple months or so. But, we did 10 days before because that was the CDC requirement on quarantine, but now it's 5 days. So I think it'd be easy just
okay,
to.
resetting it, are you talking about a reset for everybody, or what are you talking about?
What about a reset? I think we just.
Some of them have used the days that we give them before. I want to make sure that if you're going to put that in the form of a motion, you know what I'm talking about.
But we discussed that last time about how many times they could use it. Didn't we end up saying, did we set a time
We'll
limit?
reset September 1st to January 31st. In other words, do you want to continue on, or are you going to start all over and reset?
If you want to reset it and give them the 5 days, or
Or just
just
continue.
continue on, move it to 5 days.
I think
You
continue.
continue on,
Move to
but
5.
you change it from 10 to 5.
So if somebody had COVID in September, they used
5, they're
5
out.
days, they're done.
If you extend it to March 31st and they get COVID in March, they're already out.
Correct, that's what I'm saying.
I'm lost. Explain that. What you saying?
So back a few months ago, with the COVID pay, we re-extended that to where if they are quarantined because they have COVID, that they get paid 10 days outside of their sick days for being off.
Okay.
So, the CDC's new requirement is 5 days. So I'm just saying we could change it to 5 days, but the question is, do we want to reset those days back to 0, or do we just move it to 5 days and not reset the days?
That was really just an HR question. just
What's
to
wrong
make
with the
sure
10
we're
days?
applying it the way that you all intend for it to happen.
Because you don't have to quarantine for 10 days anymore.
Yeah, you just have to
So we
quarantine
need
for
to
5.
know if it would be
Well,
10
well,
days
they
to
changed
January
that, didn't they?
31st and then 5.
5 days.
They changed that, didn't they?
The payroll we need to know,
Okay.
because we're keeping.
I forgot that. You're right.
Say after January 31st, it just goes to 5 days. But with or without a reset, I think that's what we're talking.
I'm saying without a reset, because technically, and I know there's always an odd situation, so you don't have to say that, but technically, someone has COVID now, they're not going to have COVID again. Statistically, the chances of them having COVID again in the next
3 months,
year,
90 days.
well, definitely in the next 90 days, it's probably 0, but within the next year, that statistical average is very, very low, okay? So they shouldn't need it, So if somebody got COVID in November, they shouldn't be, again, statistically speaking, they shouldn't be getting it in, December, January, February, March, it's going to be a non-issue for those people.
I'll say when it was first put into place by the state and federal, I think it was 10 days for a year, and you all have basically had a new fiscal year, so I think it would make sense if you're going to do it to take it out to June 30th and say a maximum of 10 days within this fiscal year, but make it just 5 from February 1st for anyone who hasn't expended all their days.
I think that's what we need to do.
That sounds good. I like the idea.
Put that in form of motion.
To June
Can Joe
30th.
put that in
Are we
June
going to
30th.
enter taking the shots
Starting
into
2/1
this?
is 5 days until
Thomas.
June 30th.
Sir.
Are we going
If
to
he's
enter taking the
10 or
shots
5,
into
don't
this?
matter, they're out.
No.
Restate that motion so I can understand it.
I think it would be to extend COVID pay
Your motion, say it again.
Hold on.
extend COVID pay to June 30th.
You got to speak up.
Extend COVID pay to June 30th. As of February 1st, the maximum allowable amount shall reduce to 5 days. Anybody who has used 10 days or 10 days shall have no others remaining. Anybody who's used less than 10 days, or I'm trying to think how to.
We gotta figure out how to. keep up with
He's
that.
competing with the trade.
It's just an accumulative average of 10 days. So if somebody has used no days and they get sick in February, they have 5 days available to them. Anybody who gets sick after February 1 has 5 days. Okay? Somebody who's already used some days prior to February 1, their cumulative total cannot exceed 10. So if they took 8 and they get sick again, they have 2 days left. If they took 9, they have 1 day left. If they took 5, they have 5 days left. Your cumulative total to June 30th cannot exceed 10. But if you have not been sick as of February 1st, you only have 5.
Got it. I mean, I know what you're saying, yeah.
So come February 1st, you can't take more than 5, but not exceed 10 since this policy was put in place. I don't know how you write that out, but that's...
Y'all can vote on it. I like the cumulative total.
It's a
And let me tell you
cumulative total since the policy was put in place. You have a cumulative total of 10, okay? But starting February 1st, you cannot exceed more than 5 days, okay? So this...
They took 8, they can still take 2 more?
They can take 2 more, that's correct. If they've taken 8 before February 1st, they have 2 more available to them.
If they've taken 0 after February 1st, they have 5.
So they lost 5 then.
Ain't nobody lost.
Well, I know.
They didn't have it to lose.
They didn't have it to lose, that's right.
Right, I understand, but they hadn't had it, yeah.
We're just keeping in pace with CDC guidelines.
Is that motion?
Yeah, motion.
I might have to get one of y'all to write all that out.
I'm writing it right now.
I think
Joe can get it.
Joe is on it.
And I know when we were here on December 14th, we talked that we didn't have hardly anybody that had actually used them. We've kind of been keeping up with that since then. As of payroll yesterday, we had increased from about 2 to 25 employees, and we've used 740 hours since 9/1. So that's just some numbers for you all, for your information.
Okay, I think that's more than generous.
Yeah. Do we have a second?
Did we have a second?
Hear one.
I'll second.
Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, next item of business was, and hopefully they'll be here in a few minutes, discussions with Silicon Ranch, but they're not here yet, so we'll move on to item 12. Pick a color for the pavers and planter boxes around the courthouse. And I'm gonna walk down there to the table and show you what the girls there in the courthouse like.
I'll let them choose it. I'm not a decorator.
There's some samples out there, but you can't tell nothing about them samples. And, because they're just gray samples. And we wanted something that wouldn't collect ice in pockets. This is what the girls picked out.
Looks good. Looks good.
Are those high rise right there?
Yeah,
I mean, is it all level?
it will be.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
as level as we can get it.
I guess the only question I've got, of course, I don't care about that, I don't understand why we're picking color before the bid process.
Well,
I
I
don't
guess he
understand
wants to
that.
write it in the specs, the color.
I mean, anytime you put something like that out to bid, it would be always, to select from your standard colors. You know what I'm saying, but
Well, I'm just doing what Bruce asked me to do. Okay.
Bruce ought to know. I mean, I don't know why he's making us pick out color before we put it out for
Okay.
bid.
This is the height of the planters.
Well, maybe some of the colors are higher than others.
They're not. There's always a standard set of colors. Just like shingles, it's just like paint, it's just like metal on a metal roof, I mean, you have your standard colors and you have your premium colors. And when you put it out for bid, it's from your full range of standard colors.
Okay, this is the height of the planters that, around the backside. The front bit out here, where we got them taller planters,
Is that 4 or 6 inches?
I think it's 8 inches.
8 inches,
He was
right.
more so wanting us to pick out the types of stone that we were wanting.
Now that makes sense.
That's what, it's more so, these are the colors that we're thinking of too, but it's those stones that so he can include that in the specs. So it's more so that than it was the specific color.
Now that makes sense.
Okay.
Picking out the color didn't make no sense to me whatsoever.
Okay.
Didn't be it
This is
Not
what
there for the bid.
picked out to
unless
go
black
around.
was higher grade.
I like
You're
that
not
one.
just using it.
Well, this is one they picked out over the pattern of the flower boxes. Using that type stone
With a cap on it?
with a cap. Now, and out front, those 2 taller planters right there by the front door, he thinks that we'd be better off just cap that off and not even try to grow anything, those higher ones.
How much you think it'll cost?
I don't have no idea, Jack. We're gonna put it out for bid.
I know, but somebody's got an idea.
That's what part of the process is.
Between $1 and $50,000.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what my recommendation, if we gotta pick out a stone type, my recommendation would be to, nothing against ladies at the office, because everybody has a different opinion, but I would think you would hire a designer to pick that out. It's very cheap, costs you $100, $200. It has an eye to look at. You're dealing with masonry walls going around the courthouse that looks one way. You got a brown or tan, ain't even brown. You got a tan brick on the courthouse, and we currently have red brick, which I don't know who the heck picked that out. Doesn't go, never has gone. But spend $200 and let a designer give him this book and say, tell us which style is going to go with what we've got here. Nothing we can change about that wall, nothing we can change about that brick, and let them pick it out. And they'll pick out the color. We don't need to know color at this moment, but we do need to know texture. We need to know if we're going to use this split face series, or if we're going to use the Lafayette series, or if we're going to use the Mega whatever series. You see what I'm saying? That's what Bruce is wanting to know. Which series? Once you pick this series, all those colors are going to be the same price. Okay? You pick, like I said, you're going to pick your texture out, and when you go through this and you say, well, I like this look or that look, hire 10 miner, $200 or less, and you're done. And you get it right.
Okay, well, y'all okay with the other part?
What other part?
About picking out the type stone we want.
I'd let Tim pick that out. That's what I'd want Tim to pick out, the type of stone, and then from there, he could recommend the color, But I'd let somebody like Tim, or if somebody has I use Tim Miner, but there's others, Tim Miner charges like $65 an hour, and he'll look at that book. He'll come here, look at that book, walk around this courthouse and say, you need this stone to go with what you got. and this color.
Write his name on there.
That's a professional service.
That's a
called Tim.
professional service, and
Call
I'm telling
Tim.
you, it's $200. And if y'all got no, I ain't promoting Tim Minor, but he's from Auburn, Kentucky, and
That's fine with me.
I tell y'all who it is, Judge. You remember the lady that used to come here, Robin, that covered the newspaper? It's her husband.
Okay.
Fair enough, right? So right
And let him pick it out.
Put it in the form of a motion.
Now, Thomas?
Okay, put that in the form of a motion.
Yeah, I mean, these are all concrete stone.
I mean, the thickness of it is what I'm going to.
Right, and there's
Strong
gonna,
stone.
there's gonna be, each stone's gonna have different thicknesses, you know what I'm saying? You just have to look at them, like this one's a 2-inch stone, this one's a 2 3/8 stone, this one's an 1 5/8 stone, and a 2 3/8 stone. So you just have to look at them and see which ones.
I want a strong, because they're going to get a lot of traffic.
Okay, make a motion, put it there in the form of a motion, Thomas.
I make a motion that you hire the services of a design professional such as Tim Minor, and to let the judge work out that with Tim or others, and let them come and pick out the stone and the color so it will match what we currently have.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second.
I'll write his number, I'm gonna write it down on his first Post-it note in
Okay.
here, okay?
We had a motion and a second. Questions?
He'll get that done this week for you. I mean, so Bruce won't, as long as he's in town.
Yeah. You made that motion as a professional service.
That is correct.
Okay. And we had a second. Who seconded it, Tyler? Okay. Let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright. Oh, he's not here. Parker,
I think Barry had to step out and take a phone call.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes.
Judge, we may want to take a 5-minute break before we get into the Silicon Ranch, give Barry
Well,
time.
I was gonna go ahead and cover these other two things.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
And then take a break, and then we'll get into
Yeah,
Silicon
if
Ranch.
Barry's not back by that time, let's take a 5-minute break.
Okay, I talked to y'all a little bit about, I talked to Bruce over at the architectural firm, Sharp, that we hired.
JKS.
And he said that that we was gonna need another professional service to handle the removal of the lead paint and the loose plaster. We don't have any asbestos in the building, but we do have lead paint. And I need, working with Mark Hopkins now, and he called me a few minutes ago and said that, he's gotta check into a couple more things. He seemed to think Mark could do it, but that'd be something I'm gonna have to come back to court with too.
Have we already hired JKS to do this, but in their contract?
We've hired them for the bid documents and for the design, and different things.
But in their contract, they said they couldn't do the asbestos, am I right on that?
They couldn't do lead paint.
Lead paint, okay. Yeah. So now it's our responsibility to source out somebody to do that.
Yeah.
Since they, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. That is
I thought they did everything like
the EPA regulates the lead paint removal, and it just, over the last 10 years, that's kind of gotten stupid. And so most architects they just don't do it. It's not much money. It's like $300. We're certified for it, but it's $300 a year to keep that certification up. And as time progresses on, there's less and less and less lead paint to deal with. So most architects just don't even fool with that, and so that's probably the reason Bruce is not wanting to even. And his may cost more than that, but for me, for my certification with EPA, it's $300 in a test once every 3-4 years.
So we just need to make a motion to allow the judge to
Work with a professional service that can do the oversight of it.
Yeah, I put it into form of motion to allow the judge to work with a professional service to perform the oversight of the lead paint removal for this project.
Well, and write the bid specs.
And write the bid specs, yeah.
Second.
Okay. You want to set an amount not to exceed without court approval?
No, I mean, we gotta do it.
Okay. Question.
What would the amount be, you think?
I don't have no idea right now.
I ain't got a clue either, and I'd hate to set an amount and have to talk about it
I
again.
agree, but I mean, this, what do you know from us?
Man, I'd be surprised if it was $2,500. I mean, and it could be, as you know, especially if Mark could do it. If Mark can do it, I wouldn't have it be under 1,000. You know, but I'm just guessing. I don't know how much documentation is involved with that. Mark does our asbestos remediation, and it's
Okay,
a few
then.
$100s.
The only thing this is gonna involve is the loose stuff, like that wall right over there and this wall over here. And then, where the walls are cracked, they'll just cut it back enough that somebody can come back and plaster it. Okay? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes. Okay, next item of business is to acknowledge the fiscal court audit for 2021, and this includes the jail, commissary, and other stuff that they've looked at. And as far as the audit, on page 61,
It's on the other side of the folder. It's on the left side of the folder.
I saw that page number somewhere.
It's at the top left, I'm sorry, top right corner.
Third page from the back. Looks good, man.
Maybe I didn't. Okay, y'all can see that, they said, are there material weaknesses identified? No. Are there sufficient deficiencies identified? No. None reported. Are there any non-compliance materials or financial statements? No. So they did have a couple of auditor comments that we addressed, but nothing was in the audit.
Good deal.
And that was at the fiscal court. I don't think there was anything identified in the jail commissary.
All right.
Make a motion to acknowledge the audit report for Logan County Fiscal Court.
For 2021.
Yeah, for year end June 30th, 2021.
Second.
Okay.
Good job. Appreciate all y'all do to make that nice, clean report. Good job.
Okay, questions. Anybody got questions about it? If not, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright. Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes. Okay, let's take a short break, and then we'll come back to Silicon Ranch. We've been here for a while, Stefan, so we're going to take a little break. Okay, our discussion with Silicon Ranch. So we're going to be talking about the ordinance, the RB, and the pilot.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, apologize for the tardiness, but appreciate the opportunity to talk to all you again. Just wanted to address a couple items, I think, on the agenda were the vegetative buffer requirement within the local solar ordinance, and then separately discussion on the proposed pilot. Since for the pilot discussion, I'd like to call in Mark Franklin, who's our attorney. So maybe if we could start with the vegetative buffer discussion. So we had submitted alternative language that we wanted fiscal court to review in regards to a lessened requirement for certain areas of the project, which would include less of a buffer for certain parts of the area where the community members wouldn't see the project. So what we proposed was a requirement for all the public right-of-ways and roads, as well as within 2,000 feet of any residences with views of the project. That being said, we're open to alternatives to that language, and just wanted to see if there would be a reconsideration potentially, and a potential to discuss language that would work for us and for the community. So, with that, I think one of the things that is kind of leading our timeline is the state permit application. We have submitted a notice that we would apply no earlier than February 20th of this month. That being said, in order to keep with our construction timeline, we would need to apply by the end of February or first week in March. So that's really what's guiding our timeline. And before we apply, we would need to make sure that we are aligned with the county, so that the application can be fully considered in accordance with the county.
Yeah, so Judge Jigberry and myself met Stefan out at the AP Miller Road, and I printed off the email that he sent today. So if you want to look at the back of a map, we met at the head of AP Miller Road and Watermelon Road. And as we discussed last court meeting, and what he's suggesting today, and what I would be open to would be also a change in the language, but more importantly, a change in the ordinance that would allow a review process for, of course, the vegetation language needs to be in there, but we could change it a little bit, but there would be a process that we allow whether it's this whole committee right here, this whole board, or the whole court, or there's a separate committee that would allow a review process that, there's some places it just doesn't make sense to have this vegetation buffer. It's in the very back of, if you look at this map, it's in the very back of the farm. The neighbor doesn't want it. They don't want that vegetation buffer. They don't want to see that. They don't want to deal with the slats blowing out, yada, yada, yada. So we had kind of suggested that, again, we would want to keep all public roads, any equipment that's visible within 2,000 feet of the road. We want to keep that language in there that is, unconditionally getting this vegetation buffer and the fencing done, but that if the neighbor is in agreement and they sign off that, hey, I don't want this vegetation buffer, and this committee or this review committee or this court reviews it and says, yeah, we agree, it doesn't make a lot of sense that there's a vegetation buffer there, that there is a process that we can sign off on that. So working with the project owners, and the landowners in this court, that there is a review process, and as long as all three are in agreement, that they sign off on it, and then that, but, you know, that we do away with that. So, I guess what I would be suggesting is that we work with our county attorney to make an amendment, I guess you would say, to the ordinance to allow for this process. Does that make sense?
I get where you're coming from.
Okay. And Barry, I mean, did you read that? I mean, I have no problem with necessarily, might need to tweak the language just a little bit, but the language that was on that email, are you talking about the email on January the 7th? It says a vegetation buffer shall be added between the project fence and the portion of the property line along with either A, the project equipment is both visible from and closer than 2,000 feet from residential structures unless the owner of the property on which such resident structure otherwise waives the requirement in writing, or the equipment from the residential structure is partially limited to topography or vegetation or other natural features of the property. A fence screen may be used to further shield the facility equipment from view in lieu of vegetation buffer. Existing vegetation along the solar project perimeter shall be preserved when reasonably practicable and shall serve to satisfy the requirements of a vegetation buffer.
So that was our proposed original language. Since then, I think there's certain things that the county would want changed. For example, if any exceptions along the public roads, maybe we don't want there to be a gap between the buffer on the main roads. So that sort of thing we could add to make sure that there's no exception on the primary roads like Watermelon Road, which seems to be the more sensitive viewshed area, and Montgomery Road and the like.
Right. And the purpose of that review, Barry brought this up, so if you're going, I'm just going to pick on AP Miller Road. So you pick up AP Miller Road and the company here, Silicon Ranch, gets with, let's just say there was 4 different owners right there, and this owner says, yeah, I don't want it. I sign off on the waiver. This owner says, no, I'm not going to sign off on the waiver. We don't want a gap. We would want to keep it consistent. So if we couldn't get everybody down that particular stretch, we wouldn't want a buffer and then all of a sudden there's not a buffer, a vegetation buffer, and then it picks up again. We'd want to keep it consistent. So that would be done through the review process.
I think what we're talking about is taking their proposal and making some slight modifications to set out this review process and have other factors set in. So my thoughts from what we've said, we do probably need to consider what factors that review process will be applying. You're setting some of those out. I'll continue to brainstorm on those. It probably would need to be the full court because we would need somebody to make the decision, and we don't really have the planning and zoning process set up that I would see to apply to this. And we would need to address the issue with whether these waivers impact the property moving forward. Presumably they probably would be, but that's also a decision that the landowners would have to make when entering into it. So.
Yeah, so the only thing that I'm not sure that would be, that it does not address would be future landowners. If the landowner today says they don't want the fence, and then okay, so everybody agrees on that road you're talking about that they don't want a fence. Well, then you get somebody else.
It's not a fence. Fence has to be there.
Yeah.
Fence has got to be
mandatory.
That's mandatory. It's vegetation.
The vegetation. Mm-hmm. So what if and then there's somebody in the middle of that property, another owner comes about and says, you know what, I don't like that. I want to be different. So does the review process start over again, or is it?
I think if it was there, it was there.
That's right. Yeah, it's like
I think we're trying to.
Buying, like buying property out in the county
Now,
and
we're talking
3
about-
months later start complaining about smelling hog.
What are we talking about? Putting something up to hide those panels they put.
So the fence is there, so you got the,
I got that.
you got the fence.
I understand that.
But there's areas that requires a vegetation buffer. Our current language says all areas require a vegetation buffer. But you get back here in the back, you know, this map doesn't show it, but there's nothing but a field back there, and the neighbors don't want it. You know, it's another, and they're row croppers, you know. Row croppers don't want that vegetation buffer because it creates shade, and where shade is, stuff don't grow as good. That's just the truth of the matter. That's the reason a farmer wouldn't want it. But they don't see a need in it either, and it's just, it's an upfront cost and it's a maintenance cost for them moving forward. So if there is a review process, and A, the company don't want it, B, the landowner that adjoins that property doesn't want it, then we would have the option to sit down and say, hey, company don't want it, adjacent landowner doesn't want it, and there's no skip in the line. It makes sense that this not be here, and we have a review process that allows us to waive that requirement of that vegetation buffer in this area. We say from point A to point B, we are going to waive the requirement that company A has to put in its vegetation buffer.
I don't see why we need to start with if there's so many feet back away from the fence. How far have they got it? Now, if they build out there on the road,
We're
your panels,
currently, there's a 100-foot setback from the roads.
from the first
Why are we
panels.
trying to hide a good thing?
Well, that's, you know, some people just don't want to see it.
100 feet ain't very far.
Yeah, but we're trying to hide a good thing.
And to Mr. Davenport's point on future landowners, if, it's not to say that we wouldn't, you know, work with future landowners if they sell the property and, you know, they don't want to see the panels on a one-to-one basis. It's just having that liability where it's potentially future landowners 30 years down the road, everyone wants vegetative buffer. You know, that would add, you know, costs that weren't forecasted in our budget.
Yeah. I mean, no disrespect, I really don't care if it saves y'all money. I don't want that to sound mean, but when y'all bought the company, you took on what, you know, the original company said this is what's going to cost this project, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Y'all bought the company, you took that plan, you took that business plan. But if this will benefit the owners, I'll go along with the ordinance that benefits our citizens and the people around. If this is beneficial to them, I'll pass the ordinance. But to save y'all money, it's not, you know, I'm here for the citizens. I don't, like I said, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but I don't care if it saves y'all money. So,
Yeah, for me as well, it does not, it has no bearing on me that this is saving company X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, right, I agree with you.
It is the fact that the current ordinance does not allow the neighbor to have an input to what they're going to be looking with and dealing with. And as a row cropper, which Logan County is you know, we're an industrial community, but we're also a huge farming community. And a row cropper don't want to be dealing with 30-foot shade tree.
and that's what's good for me.
You know,
what I'm saying?
and
That
so
part
if
of
you're
it.
in the back and,
Yeah.
and the neighbor says, man, I don't want that, the company says, you know, we don't need it, doesn't do anything for us either, and then we sit down here as a full court and we look at a map and we say, hey, you know, right, that neighbor don't want it, the company don't want it, visibly, nobody's going to see this vegetation buffer. It's in the back, the next road is separated by a 400-acre field. Makes no sense to put it there. Let's.
If this is something that
take it
citizens
off.
want to do, then I'm good with it.
But it is a review process. It
Yeah.
doesn't take that requirement out. It just allows for all three of us to work together to come up with a map where current ordinance says there is no review process.
Yeah.
You're putting up a fence and you're putting up a vegetation buffer, period.
And they're gonna put the slats in all the way around, right?
So the slab we were proposing as you know, it's,
What kind of fence you putting up?
we're putting a 6-foot chain link fence, with the slats would be certain areas that need the additional buffer. So for example, the railroad area, that's where one area we proposed the slats because the existing vegetation doesn't fully cover that view. But, you know, we weren't necessarily proposing the full screen. Just wanted to, that's something that we could discuss for the future language, but if it's preferred to have the full screen throughout the fence, you know, we could work with that as well.
I think that too is left up to a review process, you know, and again, everybody has a different opinion, but I wouldn't want to screen it all, you know, I don't think it looks as good. You know, the solar panels are standing up higher than 6 feet, so it ain't like, oh, if you're line of sight, same elevation, you're going to not see the legs that the solar panels are sitting on. That's really all you're covering up.
The panels would be, you know, 6 to 8 feet at their highest. When they're tilted, they'd be a little higher, so probably around 8.
Okay. I'm good with what you're proposing.
So my recommendation would be to make a motion to allow our county attorney to work an amendment, is that what you call it?
Yeah.
An amendment to our current ordinance to allow a review process for our vegetation and screening requirements.
And I think that probably works with the timeline you're talking about. If you're saying early February or late February, we have 2 meetings in February, so I can print out the first reading of an ordinance for our next meeting with some blanks that they can fill in, and that will be totally acceptable, and we can advertise that and have that second reading in the second meeting in February.
Okay.
So I'll put that in the form of a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we've had a motion and a second. Sound like to do an amendment to the ordinance, without allowing a review.
Yeah.
Okay, question. Okay, let's have a roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley.
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yeah.
If I could call in Mr. Franklin for the next.
Yeah, we got where's our telephone at? We need to hook it up.
What's he doing now?
That's like a telephone, it's a teleconference, telephone, so
It's a flying saucer.
it'll be, it's gonna test you for COVID. It's gonna test you, see if you got COVID.
Yeah,
Mayor, we used it once or twice before.
yeah, I know that.
Stand under it and we'll beam you up, like, you know, beam you up, Scotty. All right.
Do you have to wait for a blue light or something?
It's ready to roll.
502?
You have to dial 9, remember?
Do you want that to be public? Or we're on live.
Yeah.
You hit 9 first to get outside line.
Does that thing get its power from that code?
Oh, probably 9152. Let me try. It's POE. It gets power from switch.
Okay.
Hello, this is Mark.
Hey, Mark, this is Stefan Ekman. We're here at Logan County Fiscal Court. Just wanted to continue our discussion on the pilot that's proposed.
Mark, can you hear?
I can hear you. I thought I could hear Stefan, but not very well.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good morning.
You might have to
You can come over here.
come around the corner or something, get a little closer. Jack won't bite. He might run over you with that chair, but he won't bite.
Yeah, so just wanted to continue our discussion on the proposed pilot for the, in conjunction with the industrial revenue bond that was proposed for the county. We had initially, proposed this as a means of kind of redistribution of funds, essentially, to the local taxing entities. I provided a breakdown, as Mr. Bolden asked for, that shows the non-IRB scenario and the funds that would be contributed to the county from the project itself, not the real property, but from the project itself. We were looking at around $90,000 per year for the first 5 years. About $44,000 of that would have gone to Logan County schools and $46,000 to county and special districts. Under the pilot scenario, we were proposing $250,000 years 1 through 15, going down to $150,000 years 15 through 30. And just wanted to note the amounts that would be going to the schools, and as an additional proposal, given that a large portion of the real property taxes is going to the Logan County schools, we could open up the discussion up to changing the assessment where we would make the schools whole for what they would have received. That is $44,000 or thereabouts every year, and the excess would go to county to allocate for a variety of different funds, whether it's economic development or other districts. So that would be what we're proposing. I think given that the county is looking to hire bond counsel, we might not pursue the inducement resolution today, since it's still going to be conditional upon further review. But just wanted to talk about the structure of the pilot and see this court's view on that.
On the $250,000, the portion that comes to the county, and this is just something I've been thinking about. We over the past, and you can just tell me if this is an idea. Is this the way you can structure this or not? Something that's always been a issue with the county talking about parks and recreation and doing that is how are we going to pay for it? As far as how are we going to help fund paying for the help and maintaining the properties. For me, I feel like the county's portion could be towards, we're already starting, we got a fund started for $250,000 a year where we're building up a savings account to do something Parks and Rec for our kids in the community. And then if we could take this and put it towards the operations of Parks and Recreation, that would help. That's always been the discussion is, well, how are we going to pay for it? How are we going to maintain it? How are we going, all that sort of thing. For me, I don't know if that's something y'all have done in the past or if that's something that anything can be structured that way. Of course, it'd have to take the whole court to be in agreement on that. But to me, that, we're already in the Parks and Rec where we're already saving for a project that we're going to do. Well, this is money that we weren't going to get. So, in the discussion of how do we pay for it, how do we maintain, how do we pay for the operations, I feel like this could be something that has come into place that could help with that discussion. I don't know if that's something y'all done in the past or.
And maybe Mark, you can fill in, but my thought is we would want to kind of simplify the pilot so it's clear that
that's just me speaking alone. That's
right.
not. I'm not speaking for anybody else.
So I think we would want to make it clear that the school would be made whole, the county would get the excess, and allow for a process for whether it's the budgets, or the county's annual budget review. Maybe there would be a fund where you could allocate the funds from this project. I don't know, Mark, if you could talk to how it's typically structured in the pilot agreement.
Sure.
Yeah, the payments typically comes directly to the county and fiscal court. I mean, you can allocate the use of the funds however you wish. I mean, I don't know personally, I guess if I were you, I don't know that I would, unless you want to, restrict the use of the funds in the pilot agreement itself. You can certainly do that. I have seen a few instances where, that there's an agreement that the pilot funds will be restricted to a specific purpose. I guess if I was on the county side of things, I might say, well, let's leave flexibility for us. We can always make that allocation every year, but it's really up to the fiscal courts. You can use the money however you want. They're really not even, they're not actually tax monies. They're payments made in lieu of taxes, so you have a lot of freedom with how you'd like to spend them. I think it's kind of up to the fiscal court and county attorney how you'd like to go about that. We can put it in the agreement, but we don't have to. You can leave it up to your discretion every year if you'd rather do that.
Mark, Mark, so I had mentioned at the last court meeting on the school tax part of it. Are we still in agreement that, or did I understand that correctly, that again, we're wanting to make the school tax whole, which is approximately a $45,000 number in this scenario, but are we limited to giving that to a certain school district, or because this is a pilot, we can direct those to, we have 2 school districts in Logan County. Can we direct those to 2 different districts?
In order for Silicon Ranch to receive an abatement of the property taxes on the manufacturing equipment and other assets, we have to pay the county school district. We have to make it whole because the project's located within the county, but not the city school district. You could require as the fiscal court that part of the portion of the pilot payments be made to the city school district if that's the court's desire. There's no restriction on that. It's just not a necessary condition to get approval from KEPTA for the state property tax abatement.
I mean, for me, what I was talking about with the Parks and Rec, that is benefiting the city of Russellville and the schools if we put it in the seat of if we do something in the seat of Russellville, my personal opinion.
But what you're saying, Mark, is, if I heard you right, that 44,000 or 45,000, whatever the number is in this scenario, would have to go to the Logan County school system.
Yes, and I'm not the one who's run those numbers, but we have to make Logan County school system whole because the project will be located in the county and not in the city, in order to get the abatement of the state property taxes. So that's right. And I'm assuming Stefan can tell us this, but the $44,000 has been estimated to be the county school portion or county school tax equivalent.
Yep. Those are the first 5 years, but I think in our estimates we had assumed tax rate escalators. So maybe in what's proposed, we would want to make it fixed, so we would take the highest of the projected payments over that 30-year period and say the school will get this every year and the excess will go to the county, county and or city.
Okay, so that's a little different explanation than last time. I thought, as I understood it last time, that it wasn't necessarily, because my viewpoint is that, the county, if the county issues industrial revenue bonds, the city is part of the county, so, if they're doing in lieu of taxes, then it doesn't seem like it would be designated just to one area.
Yeah, but the KEPTA will look from their purposes of just the approval, they look to see if the project, what taxing districts are impacted by a potential loss of increased tax revenues by the bond issue. So if the project's not in the city limits, then the city school district wouldn't be impacted by the bond issue because they wouldn't be able to tax the project because of its location. So that's why they would require only the county school system to receive the pilot payment in order to grant approval of the state property tax abatement. But you as the fiscal court can, you can negotiate or allocate, these pilot payments as you wish in order to grant the abatement, because you're the one issuing the bond. So, if it's the court's pleasure to also see that the city school district gets a portion of the pilot payments as well, you can direct that or agree to that in the pilot agreement.
But that would come out of the county's portion.
And just thinking out loud here, if you did
it would. Yeah.
If you did a split between, the county and city, could the city allocate some to the Parks and Rec, some to their school district? Just wondering if that would give you more flexibility if you say,
It would go straight to the city school. It would go to the actual city.
Well, I mean, no sense complicating that matter,
Mhm.
now. I mean, the number is 44,000. And again, we would take the higher of all those numbers. It looks like the highest number is $44,809. Is that, am I seeing that right?
So that would probably escalate to higher than that. So I could go back and get the highest of those numbers.
Okay, well, anyhow,
But-
we'll figure out what the highest of that number, and that's the portion that's going to be going to the local school district in that area. Okay.
But the excess would be somewhere around 80,000. That would be split between county or schools or Russellville. Is the difference between 121,000 and 44,000?
No, I thought we were dealing with 200, right?
Yeah, that was 200 something.
Yeah, so you're dealing with, you're looking at the non-IRB scenario, right?
Yeah, that's right, sorry.
If you look at the.
Right, it's 250 minus 44. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, I think for just today's purposes, we have more time to discuss, what that would be, and we need to seek our bond counsel as well. But just to keep it simple, you are going to have $44,000 that would go to the school system. All the rest of it's coming into the county, period. What we do with that is yet to be determined, I guess is what to say. I have a different opinion of what we should do with that, but I'm sure everybody's got an opinion what we ought to do with that. And I don't think this affects Mark or Stefan, what they're wanting to do. I mean, they're wanting to sit down and talk to us and, hey, what do you want going here? And is there anything else? So
as far as our timeline, we realize that this doesn't need to be determined before we apply, before we submit that application at end of February. So we have a little bit more time, and we thought, there's no need to rush the inducement and have it be conditional upon further review from whoever you retain as counsel. So we would rather you retain counsel, and you can have the discussions on allocation, and we can put that into the final inducement.
I'm happy to recommend somebody if you would like me to. There's a limited number of, my job's so exciting, I guess. There's a limited number of people who do this in Kentucky, but I can recommend a name or two if you'd like referrals for somebody you could talk to represent you in the transaction. I'm happy to do. I know everybody in the state who does bond work, so I'm happy to give you some names if that's preferable.
I would say send that to our county attorney and let him review that with the judge, and they pick counsel who they deem would be best suited for our needs and would represent us the best. So,
I think it would
Sure. Okay. Well, I'm happy to do that. That's helpful.
probably be good to just put that in the form of a motion that you all authorize Judge Chick and I to select bond counsel so that we can look at moving forward with.
I put that in the form of a motion to allow county attorney and Judge Chick to solicit bond counsel in the review of our intended IRBs.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
What was the second part?
Jason, I think.
Jason, second.
Solicit bond counsel and,
To solicit bond counsel
right,
for the review of our industrial revenue bond
Okay.
issue,
gotcha.
IRB, for the Silicon Ranch project. If you need to be specific about the project.
Okay, let's have roll call if there's no discussion.
Davenport,
Yes.
Crossley,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yeah.
Mark, thank
Thank
you.
you.
It's short
Thank
and
you, Mark.
sweet. We appreciate you taking the time to field a couple of questions for us.
Okay, we need.
I apologize, I couldn't be there in person. I have a couple other meetings today, so I'm trying to handle them all by video or phone. I appreciate your time today very much. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll, if you got anything that you need to share with Joe on the vegetation thing, just,
I would just say, there's been a lot of people on our emails. If you would email me on the group you've got out of Nashville working on that, and if I get some proposed language added to your roles, I can go back and forth with them in the next 2 weeks.
one thing I'll just talk about in the proposed industrial revenue bond issue and the scenarios that is on this spreadsheet. If y'all not reviewed it, you know, this tax is, like I said last time, is new money. I appreciate the couple of different scenarios that Silicon Ranch has proposed. My intent would be to make the school whole, and that's it. Nothing additional. So again, that number is going to be around $44, $45, maybe $46,000 to the Logan County school system. Sounds like CAFA, which is the overview state board that looks at that. And again, the intention is to make sure that the school boards don't lose any new potential tax. So that's what we would kind of be committed to. The rest of it coming back into the general fund. I am of the opinion, maybe not necessarily in the written language of, which I'm not opposed to, but in the written language of the pilot that we would sign with Silicon Ranch, but maybe in form of a motion just here internally, that we do designate those funds, because what we tend to see is when $125,000 or $150,000 comes into our general coffers, they just get absorbed in our general daily maintenance. This is new revenue. I would like to see it dedicated. I'd like to see a discussion about what that, you know, I'm sure everybody's got a different idea. I appreciate Tyler's idea, and I don't think you'll find too many more people more passionate about seeing Parks and Recs moving forward than myself. I want that to move forward, but once we do enter into that phase of being in the parks business, if that's what you want to call it, that should be forever. I don't think you would ever get out of it. And this money is a 30-year money, okay? And that's the reason I don't want to designate, or one reason I don't want to designate this money to that, because what do you do? Not only does it have an end life to it, but it also has a depreciation life to it. So I'm just making numbers up. If it's 150 this year and it's 150 for 5 years, well, the 6th year it becomes 125, and it starts phasing down as time goes on because of depreciation. When we get in the parks business, we need to designate general fund monies, period. And like I said, once we get in the park business, we're going to be in the park business for the next, you know, we'll all be long gone. And this money is going to be phased out, and then it's going to be gone.
Well, Thomas, just stopping you for just a second. I'm under the understanding that stuff like the extension district and everybody's got to be made whole with any money. You know what I'm talking about, you know, it won't all be school and be county. You know, every district, special taxing district got to be pretty much made whole with the money that we received.
That'd be a good question to get answered. The only
Yeah.
one I heard Mark say was school.
School, yeah.
That CAFA required school districts be made whole.
The districts would not need to be made whole necessarily.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
We kind
Could be for our audit, I don't know.
we could, no, CAFA's, once CAFA signs off on the tax, you know, you've got to do this, and this. They can't come back and say, hey, well, you gotta send this money here. CAFA issues that exemption, you know, so, but I could be wrong, but the way I understood Mark last
Okay,
time, it
well,
was just the school. You
Okay,
know.
well, I just figured the county part of that, pallet would have to be, pretty much divided up, you know what I'm talking about, along with the taxes.
No, I think when we do the industrial revenue bonds, that you're gonna make the school whole, and then the rest of it comes to the county, and the county's responsibility to whatever they do with it. Absorb it into your general fund, go put it into Parks and Recs, you know, go split it 19 different ways, it
So
doesn't matter.
what you're saying is what was going to be like $100-something thousand going to county schools, you're saying proposed that it would just be 40-something thousand?
That's correct. That would make the school whole. That is the minimum requirement. This proposal was just something Silicon Ranch came up with. This is nothing we came up with.
Yeah.
They came up with this pilot. And I understand why. I mean, schools are obviously, as they win, you know, it's a nice thing to say you're going to give money
Yeah.
to schools, right? You know.
So if it takes 15,000 to make Russellville whole, it would come out of the county side.
Russellville, there is nothing to make Russellville whole.
Yeah,
They're outside, it's
I know,
outside
but
the
I'm
city
saying you want to
limits.
see it made whole, so the county, we'd have to do it on our side.
There's nothing to make them whole. They're not due any taxes because CAFA is going to look at that and say, okay, what school districts are going to be impacted here? And they're going to look at all the geographical area, and they're, you know, this is just a scenario where there's none of it in the city limits. So city of Russellville is not going to have anything there to be made whole on because they wouldn't have received it anyway.
Okay.
So they wouldn't have received anything. So.
I mean, the only reason why I mentioned Parks and Recs, because that's always the discussion. I mean, I know it's 30 years and it's go away, maybe. I mean, I'm sure they hope they can be here longer than 30 years, I don't know. But I mean, that's always the issue when we talk about doing something, Parks and Rec, is that, yeah, we got the money to do something, but the problem is that, you know, once we do it, how are we going to pay? What about the money it's going to cost to maintain it? And I'm just thinking, this is new money that we haven't, like you said, we we're going to get this money. 30 years is a long time, you know. And in a 30 years time frame, I mean, we can do a lot of things for income to make sure that stays an income for that line item, such as grants and stuff that we haven't applied for in the past. But that's the only reason why I mentioned that, because that's always seems like the stopping point of us doing anything Parks and Rec wise at the county level, is that it's going to cost to maintain it, it's going to cost to keep it going. And for this being new money and we can designate it how we want to, basically, I just feel like that would help with that conversation. That's the only reason why I mentioned the Parks and Recreation.
Is it going to stay the same every year, the payments?
That goes down a little bit because the value of the equipment, depreciation.
That's what I want.
It goes through the cycle of depreciation, and then the rate, you know, theoretically the tax rate is the same, but the equipment depreciates over time. And so, and again, I don't want to take up this court meeting to continue on that conversation, but so I would like to see, just so y'all can be digesting that, I would like to see that whatever comes to the county, I would like to see that be designated for economic development. You know, Judge and I are the ones that sit on the lead and the IDA boards by appointment of this court. So I know daily y'all don't see what goes on there and the daily things that we have, our challenges. But our challenges is always when we're looking to, let's say, we want to build a spec building. Okay, we want to build a spec building to put it out there to entice industries to come, and hey, we've already got the building. We've got the pad,
And we financed that, and y'all saw how long it took us to first do it, 2, commit to it, and 3, pay for it. Okay, we're still paying for it. Because we have no revenue. All we have is donations. Whatever the court gives us, the city gives us, that's all we got. Now, we do have some TVA in lieu of taxes money coming in now. It's called invest, it's 135,000. 153,000, so that's money. So we were able to acquire the American Legion property, and that was a revenue stream that's going to allow us to make that payment. But, you know, we have to start thinking about creating revenue streams, and it's never popular talking about adding a tax. You know, a lot of communities have a economic development tax, and, you know, it's a small thing on your property tax, and that money comes into that. But anyhow, I mean, I just would think that this would give the economic development arm, you know, a revenue stream that they can say, hey, yeah, now we can build this $4 million spec building and entice, and we have the means to make the payment now that we have $100,000 of money coming in. And that could be put into use for them. So that's just my opinion about that. The other thing about Parks and Rec, again, Parks and Rec has the money. We have it in our budget to fund it. It is a commitment issue of this court. So we're already giving them $250,000 a year for future projects. We're sitting at $250,000, soon to be $750,000. With this body not in agreement of moving forward. So another year from now, it's going to be $1 million. With, again, this body having not, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not begrudging that fact at all. I appreciate the fact that we can sit down and talk about it. But I am leery of throwing more money towards something that this court has not committed to move forward on. Now, if this court today or next court meeting or next month says, yes, I want to move forward and this is what we want to do, then my mindset would be different. But I'm not there. There's no reason me to ask the court, instead of contributing $250,000 a year towards Parks and Rec, and let's make it $500,000. There's no reason to do that because this body is not committed to the idea of moving forward with Parks and Rec.
I think
y'all need to.
I think some of that problem with the commitment to move forward is the maintaining and the cost operations.
Everybody sitting here knows it's not a money issue because we have the money. There's nobody here that can say, I don't want to move forward because we don't have the money to maintain. You know, that's just, we have the money to do it. I mean, if you want to get in the parks business, it takes $200,000 a year to run it. The county's got $200,000 a year that they can commit to that. It's just whether or not this body is going to sit down and do it. I mean, we've kicked and pushed and thrown some ideas out there, and we just ain't gotten there yet. And it's going to come one of these days, and that's okay, you know. But I just don't want to throw more money at something that's not moving forward. You know, if that's the issue, the next budget cycle, I'll make a motion that we put $150,000 of general fund money into increasing the Parks and Recs, and you can call it maintenance. You got one for future project, and you can do a subtitle that says maintenance, and we start doing $375, you know, a year towards the project. There's money in the budget to do that. It's not a money issue. It's everybody being on board and getting into that business.
Just like you said a while ago, once you start the Parks and Recs, it needs to keep going.
That's right. It'll never stop. It shouldn't, you know, forever and ever, amen. The county will be in that. And it will grow. I mean, it'll be more and more. It'll be one building, it'll be two buildings, it'll be this park, it'll be 3 parks, it'll be 4 parks.
I give you credit for wanting to get into this, and I'm with you 100%. Because as I travel and I see parks and things that other counties and cities have, we're behind, way behind. It's something we need to do.
I just think for now project issue, we just don't have a project right this minute, and it'll come up.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, it's not a money thing for me. I mean, if we need 200,000 to whatever project or projects that we decide to start, and it's gonna take $100, $200, $300,000 a year to increase a little funding and have maintenance for it, I support that, you know. I think we do that out of general fund operations.
This IRB stuff's going to general fund, unless we specify otherwise.
It's all the same.
It's all the same. I'm just,
I mean, you can earmark it, it's the same.
yeah.
It's right. We can take these funds and earmark it to Parks and Recs, and I can sit there and ask y'all to donate $150,000 a year more to the IDA for economic development so we can do X, Y, and Z. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing at the end of the day. I just thought, well, this might be a clean way if everybody looks at this as new money, as they should, because it is new money. And, the money's coming from economic development that we reinvested back into economic development. That was my own thoughts. So I am 100% for what Tyler says. Anything I can do to help move Parks and Rec projects forward.
I know you are.
Stephen, on this particular thing, before we get spending too much, this don't start till the project's completed, does it?
The actual payments would start at the initial synchronization, which is 3 months prior to.
Come up here, I can't hear you back there.
The payments would start just before completion of the project. So that would be September 2023. So that's when you can expect.
September when?
2023.
Next year.
Okay.
After the project is completed, but before
So
it's fully
we're-
operational.
Yeah, okay, we're a little bit,
18 months.
18 months.
The bond would be asked to be in place just before that.
I just want to make sure that we didn't get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, be some occasional revenue from payroll and.
That it?
Yeah. Okay, any other discussion, anything, post agenda? I do need to meet with, Tyler and, Barry, I have to go downstairs for a minute. Okay?
I make a motion to adjourn where y'all meet then.
Second.
Okay, we had a motion to adjourn, the second, let's have roll call.
Davenport?
Yes.
Crossley?
Yes.
Wright? Harper?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Logan?
Yes.
Chick?